Hey, here back again with the Stihl 036 Pro. I just had finished rebuilding the top end of this saw with a new cylinder, put it together for a test run. Had not run this saw in many years, and filled it up. Test run fired right up and started, ran great for a couple minutes and there were a couple seconds, and then I noticed that fuel was leaking, so shut it off. And it appears that somewhere, I was not able to pinpoint it, gas is kind of going everywhere, but it seems that somewhere in this seam it was leaking fuel, and it didn't seem like 100% consistent, but if I kind of held it on the side and was like, you know, twisting the handle a little bit, it would leak worse. So hopefully that is, you know, the correct spot where I identified it, somewhere along this seam. This is an aftermarket tank. I think it was Tech brand. It was put on there probably about 7 years ago at this point, and that was pretty much the last time I ran this saw. I don't know what happened. Maybe something, the epoxy they hold it together with dried up. But either way, before I go ahead and put a new fuel tank on this saw, I figured I'd clean this up and attempt to put some of this JB Plastic Weld along this seam and see if that stops that leak. So I dumped the fuel out of the saw, put it back in the can, and then I sprayed this seam down real good with brake parts cleaner. Actually learned that trick for a Dodge truck I have, where the intake manifold, the sensor there, the MAP sensor, can get oil on it, and the technical service bulletin actually has you spray that with brake parts cleaner, because even though that's pretty bad, the soaked plastic and brake parts cleaner, it flashes off so fast. It actually does work as a decent cleaner for plastic. I've used that for many years. You got to be careful with it, but in many cases it does work well, because you can get that solvent in there and then it flashes off so quick. So, all right, I'm going to pull this apart and try to get as much of that seam open as I can. I'll probably scrape that down a little bit more with a toothbrush and some isopropyl alcohol to try to get that clean and dry as much as possible, and then mix up the JB Plastic Weld and give it a shot. Okay, so I got the epoxy on here, the JB Weld Plastic Weld. So actually seems like it, it's a little messy here, but it seems like it did bond pretty well to the tank material, and hopefully that'll seal up whatever's leaking from this seam. I'm gonna just hit that real quick with the heat gun, just make sure that's fully cross-linked. It says it cures in an hour and it's set overnight, but I'm just gonna give it a little bit more heat to make sure everything is good to go there, and then we'll give it a test run. Okay, so here we are. We got the saw. I had filled this up probably about an hour ago. Made sure to get the fuel level above the seam here all the way around. Yeah, it's been sitting here. Moved the saw around a little bit, and absolutely no sign of leakage. So I will be honest, I was giving that a very low chance of success, that simply cleaning and gluing that seam would fix it. But hey, it seems to be working now. So the real proof will be, you know, let's get this saw, get some hours on it. You know, a lot of moving around, flexing around, being set up and down, and see if that holds up. So still a little doubtful that it'll last long term, but hey, for using a little bit of a $7 glue tube of glue, JB Weld Plastic Weld, seems like it actually is working, at least off the bat here. Let's go make some sawdust.